What I really like about your campaign is you're not talking possibilities or what ifs or maybes. You're flat out making pledges, promises that will be kept. One is your no tax pledge. Tell us about that.
Yes, I've made a pledge. And my pledge is no new taxes, no increase in existing taxes, and anything, and I mean anything that grows the size of the federal government by $1, regardless of party. If we get a Republican president in 2016 and he wants to raise taxes, he wants to create a new agency, I'm voting against it. We have to set and we have to be willing to make these commitments. Or else, the alternative, America will cease to be America.
You are pro-life, pro-gun, pro-traditional marriage, and you've spoken out against Obamacare, against big government. You sound a lot like Governor Palin. Why are these stances you've taken crucial to getting our country back on track? Because it's really how things were and how things in a lot of our communities are when you don't have bureaucrats getting involved.
Exactly, and that's what our government intended, our founders. That's what our founders intended this government to be, was limited government. If you look back in everything that transpired, they didn't just pull this out of thin air. There's actually 600-700 years of history that they derived what they brought forth in our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. It was the 1100 Charter of Liberties, the Magna Carta of 1215, the Petition of Rights of 1689, the Grand Renaissance, the Bill of Rights of 1689. This is what our founders brought forth for us, and it was a limited government. In our Constitution, the government was responsible for 4 responsibilities. National security, we're failing miserably. Our borders are wide open. Coin and currency, well, we've turned that over to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve is the one now that is coining and currencying our money. The post office and roads. The post office now has just admitted, well, geez, we're $2 billion in the hole again. If you can see the government can't even run the responsibilities they were intended to run, how are they going to run all these other things, Obamacare and everything else? The last was commerce between states and foreign nations. And look at these treaties and agreements that we're making with foreign nations. We're getting our butts kicked over it. We're losing ground. This import-export bank, we're loaning money, taxpayers' money, to foreign countries to buy our products. If that isn't crony capitalism, I don't know what it is. How can we say that that is good commerce to do that to another nation? Loan them our money so they buy our products. We're going in the hole. We can't continue this route. We have to have a level playing field with commerce with foreign nations. We cannot continue on this path. We are actually creating our own demise with these kind of actions.
We recently passed another 9/11 anniversary, and of course Patriot Day is about the events of September 11th, 2001, but another awful September 11th happened in 2012 in Libya, and you, like Palin, you don't mince words, you don't pull punches, you say Benghazi was a cover-up.
Benghazi was a cover-up. They say we haven't been hit since 9/11. What was the Fort Hood shooting? What was the Boston bombing? Come on, we've been hit twice more at least, if not more. They don't want to admit it, but we are towering to the terrorists. We are not standing. Now, sure, everybody says, well, there's not a country here to declare war against. Well, let me remind folks, according to our Constitution, Congress declares war. The last time we did that, World War II. Everything else is an appropriation of funds for a conflict. We haven't declared war since World War II. We can't declare a war against an entity that doesn't have a country. So then the founders put something in the Constitution that we can abide by, letters of marque and reprisal. What is this? This is when there are terrorists out there that are hitting our nation or killing Americans, we hire mercenaries or special forces, as we did with Osama bin Laden, and we hire them to go over there and we take them out. This is the avenue we have, and we're not utilizing it. The problem with our government is nobody even looks at the Constitution. They're all trying to kick it to the curb and thinking that we've progressed past that. The Constitution is etched in stone. That's why this country is great. We got to get back to, this is our playbook. We got to get back to following the playbook. When you get back to the basics, the fundamentals of this country will be just fine. But right now, we're not even close to following the guidelines of the fundamentals and principles of our Constitution.
What separates you from your opponent? There's a big gap there. One glaring difference is thoughts on the job John Boehner is doing or not doing.
Yeah, John Boehner, thanks, John, for your service. But honestly, why are you passing this off to the judicial branch? For crying out loud, you got Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. All funds are appropriated in the House. If you don't like what they're doing, cut their funds. I just heard the retiring Doc Hastings speak down here the other day. He said that they subpoenaed the United States Fish and Wildlife to come to the Natural Resource Chair, the committee, and testify on this white bluffs bladderpot that they just designated as an endangered species in my backyard. They're trying to take our water away. And they didn't show up. He says they thumbed their nose at us. So we're going to subpoena them again in November. And I'm thinking, what? What makes you think they're going to show up this time? You want them to come to the table, cut their funds, they'll be there the next day. People will come to the table when their funds are being cut. But when you play this game that you keep funding them and you keep funding them with the increases of every year, nobody's going to play by the rules. They're going to keep doing what they want, and they're going to thumb their nose at you. We have to rein them in. How do we rein them in? We start cutting the funds across the board with every agency. The VA, let's talk about the VA a second. If anybody wants an indication of what Obamacare is going to be like, look how they're treating our heroes, the veterans. If they don't treat them any better than that, what makes you think they're going to treat us ordinary individuals any better? And the VA, that's another agency out of the 1,300 agencies, 432,000 employees, Fox News reported about 2 months ago. 432,000 salaries, retirements, benefits, bonuses, medical, you name it. Now times that by 1,300 agencies. Now you start to see the magnitude of this government and why we got to start cutting the government and let the private sector unshackle and unleash our job sector. And I'm talking about all the coal industry, the forest industry, the agricultural industry. Unleash it. One thing, the American Lands Council, we got to look at this the West Coast, the whole western half of the United States. We got to get the federal government releasing these grounds to these states so the states can profit. Nevada is 80% owned by the federal government because they never released the grounds. And the midsection of the United States had to sue them in order to get them to release those grounds when they became states. We in the western side of this United States are going to have to do the same thing. We've got to get possession of these grounds so that the states can profit.
Well, Clint Didier, we are very excited about your candidacy. So happy you could join us today. And, cards on the table, I do have one bone to pick with you. You were very instrumental in beating my Bears in the playoffs in 1986 and 1987. And I think even had a touchdown grab from Doug Williams in one of those games. So,
yep.
I wasn't too happy with you at the time, but I was a kid then. I'm over it. Well, I'm not really, but I'm not really over it. But politically, we're on the same team.
Well, I gotta tell you, I often look back and I think, why did God bless me with that opportunity to play for those Redskins, to play for Joe Gibbs, a man that never said a swear word. He was a great coach. Every time he summoned me to his office or I wanted to talk to him, I walked in his office. He stepped away from his desk, and on his desk was the Bible, and he was reading the Bible. I tell you, the man is, and he's got 3 NASCAR championships, 3 Super Bowl victories. He's successful because he believes in God, and he lives exactly the way our founders intended people to live. Strive to be the best, but live the laws of the land and live the laws of God. And you can succeed no matter what you want to do. And that's what I hope America will get back to. And I just ask all your listeners to please take time, 30 seconds, and say a prayer for this country. Say a prayer for the future generations that they may have that same shot at the dream that we've all had.
Isn't that amazing? A successful guy like Joe Gibbs, directing all those men like that and be able to keep it cool and, like you said, never swearing. I know Sarah Palin's a huge John Wooden fan, another guy who really never was caught cursing along the lines. Someone who, you can't say that about Mike Ditka. was recently defended by Sarah Palin when he came out in favor of the Redskins name. He said the name should stay. I got to ask you before I let you go, what's the feel from yourself and all the former Skins, the great Super Bowl teams? Did they want the Redskins to stay as the nickname of the storied franchise?
I would hope so. I haven't talked to all of them, but I'm going to say this. If the American people were truly offended by the Redskins name, then they wouldn't be going to the games and they wouldn't be buying all that memorabilia. The only thing that they allowed to happen was that they pulled 6 patents from the Redskins owner. Snyder can no longer profit from the Redskin memorabilia now because he can't. He's in competition. Everybody across America can now to make this merchandise, and so they've hurt him. One things people need to be looking at is who does Snyder contribute his campaign funds to? It's to conservatives. Is it about the name, or is it about Snyder being a conservative and given to conservative candidates? This is a question that needs to be posed in this attack on the Redskins.
That's a very interesting point. Yeah, if it was a Rooney or someone along those lines, you wouldn't see this. That's very well put. Well, again, Clint Didier, we appreciate you. Thank you for all the thrills you gave us on the field. First off, Redskin fans or not, one of the great players in the 80s for sure. And now, hopefully, we send you to D.C. to do some other winning and some other business for us. What's your website so people can help out and learn more about the campaign?
It's Didier, the number 4, Congress.org. That represents the 4th Congressional and for Congress. DidierforCongress.org.
All right, Clint Didier running for Congress in the 4th District in Washington. He's Palin-powered, endorsed by Governor Sarah Palin. We wish you the best. Thank you so much for being here today.
I got the Mama Grizzly on my side.
You got it. Good luck to you, sir.
Okay. Bye-bye.
DidierforCongress.org is the place to go. That's Didier, Didier, the number 4, Congress.org. DidierforCongress.org.